Welcome, my friends, to the Far Post Podcast, another installment from the comfort and safety of our own homes as we continue to practice safe social distancing and stay home as often as we possibly can. We hope you are doing the same. We hope you're listening to this show, watching this show from the comfort of your own homes. I am Jeff Lemieux. I am hosting today's show from the comfort of my own apartment. Hopefully somebody out there is booing me because I'm sure that I deserve it. I am joined on today's show once again by Elizabeth Pahota. And Elizabeth, I know you hosted the last two installments of these, but the fact is you should have known I'll only step out of the spotlight for so long. So I apologize for stepping back into the host role today, but you couldn't have expected that I would just let you take over full time.
I mean, you can't keep someone down, right? I knew you were going to bounce back up and come back stronger, Jeff. So I'm happy that you're hosting and I get to be in the interview with Adam as well. But who knows? I might pop up again. We'll see. We'll see how long this goes on for. A little back and forth.
We'll see how it goes for me today, and then we can decide moving forward. But as you mentioned, we are excited to be joined today by a very special guest, the New England Revolution's new number 9, Mr. Adam Buksa. Adam, thank you so much for joining us on the Far Post Podcast.
Pleasure. Hello, everyone.
First of all, I think the most important question that anybody can ask anyone right now: how are you doing? Just kind of how's the health? How are you holding up?
I'm doing well. I'm healthy. A little bit bored, but we need to go through this. So I'm doing well.
How is your family doing? Is your family all back in Poland?
Yeah. Well, I'm with my girlfriend here in Massachusetts. The rest of my family is in Poland. They're all healthy and safe. It's not easy to be away from them, but I think me and my girlfriend are in a safe place right now. Coronavirus is spreading the word, so it's difficult to find a safe place right now. And we need to just take care of each other and simply stay home. It wouldn't be a good idea to fly to Poland right now. But I'm in touch with all my family, and they are safe and healthy, so it's very important for me.
What is the situation like in Poland as compared to the kind of the United States? How is everything going back in Poland?
Poland is 2 times smaller than the United States, or even more. So it's difficult to compare those numbers between the United States and Poland. But I think in the United States, the situation is a little bit worse. Especially in New York, but the peak is still about to come in the United States, and same as it is in Poland. So it's not easy for both countries. In Poland right now, there have been over 5,000 cases. I think about 300 people died. So these are not positive. This is not positive news, but I think we're about to reach the moment in Poland where these cases will be smaller. So I hope we'll come back to normality very soon.
You mentioned you've been able to stay in touch with your family. How big is your family? How many brothers and sisters? How much family's back in Poland?
Well, I have 2 sisters, 2 older sisters. I have 1 younger brother who is a professional soccer player as well. So my brother and my parents are in Krakow right now. This is my home city. And my sisters are in the Warsaw. They all have to stay home and enjoy time with each other.
You mentioned your younger brother, Alexander, who is just turned 17 and just recently came up with the first team with Wisła Krakow, right? So when you guys were growing up playing, did he get to the first team and play in the Polish Ekstraklasa while you were still there? Did you cross paths at all at the professional level?
Yes, unfortunately, we haven't played against each other yet. But in last year, we met twice during the single game, Pogoń against Wisła, but he was on the bench. I played both games 90 minutes. He didn't get a chance to play against me in in these games. But he has already scored 3 goals in Ekstraklasa. Played a couple of games, and he's improving. He's been improving very well so far. I hope we'll cross our paths in the national team maybe soon.
I know there's 6 years age difference between the two of you. So what was kind of that dynamic like? What's that?
Even 7.
What was that kind of dynamic? 7 years. So what was the kind of the dynamic like between the two of you growing up playing the game? Was there any competition there, or was there too much of an age gap? Were you kind of more of a teacher and a mentor? What was kind of that relationship like between you with regards to soccer?
So I moved away from my home city when I was 16 years old. I moved to Italy. I spent there 1 year, and then I moved to Gdańsk, and I've never come back home, just for Easter and for Christmas. But last time I spent time with my brother when we were both living in the same house was when he was 8 years old and I was 15. So obviously we were spending a lot of time playing football, playing video games in the garden, in the backyard. So we did a lot of crazy stuff against each other. But he was a very, very young boy. We enjoyed that time, but we cannot say that it was kind of a preparation for him to become, because he was simply too young to understand those things, and he still wasn't sure if he wanted to be a professional soccer player.
Is he a forward kind of in the same mold as you? I think I saw he's about 6'2". Is he sort of a similar style player to you?
Yes, pretty much, yes. But there are a couple of differences between us. He's very strong physically for his age. I wasn't that strong in his age, that's for sure. I also had some difficulties regarding injuries. I lost over 2 years of my youth career because of that. So he still hasn't had an injury that forced him to stop playing for more than 1 or 2 months. So he's in very good shape. He's very tall, very good left foot. So that's what we can say. It's very similar to mine. Well, we both have left foot. I don't know if mine is good, but he is definitely is. Yeah, he has also blonde hair. So we are kind of similar on the pitch and even outside of that. So I hope he will follow my path of career, and I hope he'll be doing better and better.
Adam, how close are you with your 2 older sisters as well?
We speak almost every day. We have a WhatsApp group, we have a Facebook group with my family. So we.
Adam, how have you're away from your family. Obviously, you're in the U.S. You're kind of adapting to this entire new life. You'd gone through 6 weeks of preseason with the Revs, really gotten settled in with the team. You get your debut out of the way. You score your first goal against the Fire. And then obviously everything kind of changes in an instant. So for you, in the situation that you were in, kind of having the time that you had to settle in, just really getting rolling with this team and kind of getting into a good place, how have you just kind of dealt with, the last few weeks and kind of, just mentally dealt with kind of this abrupt halt, considering you were kind of on that upward trajectory with the team?
Well, the beginning was not easy for me. I had to adjust in the team, get to know every player. So it's normal, but it's always a crucial time for a person who is new in the team. On one hand, I want to show my skills. I want to show my value. On the other hand, I have to respect also other guys, get to know their quality on the pitch, what kind of person is someone out of the pitch. So it was an important time for me, but I think I used it in a right way. Uh, as soon as the season started, I think we understand with each other very well. It's a pity that the league had to be stopped, because I think we were on a good way to start winning games, but we have to accept the situation we have right now. I think we still haven't played any game which we can say was a perfect game from us, because we could have won against Chicago. I think against Montreal we also could have played better, especially the first half. But I'm very optimistic on what we are as a group, and I'm sure we can achieve great things in the future for sure.
And now one of the big challenges becomes just trying to keep yourself fit, keeping yourself ready for when the game does return and when training does return. So I know you're obviously a little limited in terms of what you can do right now to stay fit. So how have you been trying to keep yourself in peak physical shape? What is it that you can do each day to kind of keep yourself ready?
As you said, it's not easy to stay fit in many ways, because those opportunities, I mean, the things you can improve right now are very limited. I mean, especially with the ball, you cannot use any field to learn other things with the ball, or to simply stay fit regarding soccer things. Things you can do is stay fit physically. I'm trying to look for some places where I live, where I can go for a run. These are the things I always do. I also have a stationary bicycle at home. I won't lie, it's boring. It's very boring. Because it is an important part of training, but we're all soccer players, so we miss balls, obviously, and this competition. That's what we're meant to do. But we have to, as I said, we have to accept the situation. We need to work hard on staying fit, because it might be very important. Before the season starts, you're doing a pre-season. In this case, we've been out for a few weeks, so it seems like we need another pre-season to come back on the field. I don't know if we'll have time for that, so that's why it's very important to stay fit right now.
Adam, you mentioned one of the workouts you've been doing is running. Are you more of a long distance runner or a sprinter?
That's a good question. I still don't know that, but I think I'm not a sprinter. There are many players in the team, in the league, who are much faster than I am, but I'm trying to stay between sprinting and high distance running, because you have to be able to play 90 minutes on the field and use sprints just in certain situations, not every time, because it won't be possible to be sprinting for 90 minutes. So I'm trying to balance this. I work on my stamina. I work on my dynamic preparation, let's say. So I'm, let's say, between those.
I like that. Dangerous on both sides of the spectrum.
Yes, exactly.
I know a lot of guys have said too, there's obviously the element of missing the game because you're not able to play every day, but there's also the element of missing the game because you're not able to come home and watch games. All of the European leagues that you might normally watch on the weekends aren't playing. So not only are you losing playing the game, you're losing watching the game. So has there been any way, how have you just tried to stay kind of connected to the game in any way that you can without being able to play and without any actual kind of live soccer to watch? Are you able to stay connected to the game at all?
That's a good question, because today I turned on the TV and put some sport channels on. I think first time after 2 weeks. I was curious what's happening on them, and the only thing I saw was horse racing live, and I started watching horse racing. That was ridiculous. I would never do it in normal circumstances, but yeah, we have to deal with it somehow. Uh, there are many channels, Polish channels on YouTube right now, which invite some sportsmen, some important people in Poland who just talk about the situations which is happening right now. That's how I try to stay in touch soccer news in Poland, in Europe, same as in the United States. Obviously, this news is limited because, as you said, and we all know, there are no games. So the only thing we can do right now is talk about soccer, about possible scenarios right now. So that's not a very fun thing to watch, but that's what I'm trying to.
Have you kept up with any of your teammates from Poland from when you played over there during this time?
Yeah, I'm in touch with almost every player from my previous club, Pogon, and the situation is not easy there right now. Most of the foreign players to move away, like to go to their own home countries. That's good for them because they can enjoy time with family and stay healthy. The bad thing about it is whenever they come back to Poland, they have to stay 40 days at home as a quarantine. So, but we still don't know when the competition is going to start in Poland as well as in Europe. So now is the time to spend time with the family and enjoy time at home because we still don't know when.
And what about your teammates with the Revs? Which guys on the roster have you kind of kept in closest contact with as you've kind of had to stay home?
Today we had a virtual training, so I'm in touch with almost everyone. We try to replace somehow the live training with virtual training. With Alex Butner and Wilfried Zahevo at the same location, so we're in touch as well. It's not the same as being in the dressing room but in this case you have nothing else. You have nothing else to do. You just have to stay home.
One of the ways that we've tried to keep our fans engaged is by simulating some of the games on FIFA 20 on video games. And I don't know if you've seen, but you've been banging in the goals in these simulations in FIFA 20. Had you seen how solid you've been in these FIFA 20 simulations?
I'm surprised because I don't like playing with myself in FIFA. I don't think I'm too good there, but it's good that there is someone who can use me in a very good way and knows how to score goals. I have to ask him how does he do it, because it might be for the future in real life. The only thing I'm concerned about is why am I right-footed in FIFA? I have 8 sports. I'm left-footed. I have no idea why it's been happening for the last couple of years. I've always been right-footed in FIFA. I watched those highlights and I'm surprisingly doing really well, as well as the rest of the team. So it's a fun thing to watch.
They're setting the bar high, so when you get back on the field in real life, you'll just have to keep banging the goals in. That work for you?
Keep on going.
Yeah, or I need someone to connect the controller to my legs, and it will be easier.
Now, one element
on
of
that.
trying to stay ready and stay fit is working out, obviously. And another element, I think one element that might even become more important while you're isolating, because you can't necessarily work out and play as much as is the diet and what you're eating. So what have been kind of your go-to meals while having to isolate?
Oh, well, I'm not a perfect cook, but I was forced to learn how to make some basic meals. I would usually start a day with an oatmeal or scrambled eggs. That's what I'm able to do very well, to prepare very well. Same as Italian pasta with some tomato sauce, with avocado, with cheese. So that's what I'm good at, and that would be it. I cannot do any other things, to be honest. So it's a bit annoying because I've been eating the same food for the last couple of weeks, and I also try to order some food once a day. It's still available. So that's what I'm doing usually for lunch. Breakfast and dinners, me and my girlfriend prepare by ourselves.
Do you ever cook any Polish foods, or did you back home?
I know Polish food is very difficult to prepare, like pierogies, gołąbki. It's not easy. You must be very patient and you must know how it's done. I have no idea. I watched my mother and my grandparents preparing it a few times, but I wasn't focused enough as a young kid on how they were preparing it. But as soon as I come back home in December, I will ask my mother to prepare a cooking cook. Useful for.
So I know you haven't been cooking any Polish food, but have you been able to find anywhere in Boston where you've been able to get a little bit of a taste of home? Have you had much Polish food since you've come to the U.S.?
There are a few spots in Boston where you can eat Polish food, but I didn't have enough time to visit those places. Especially now, it's not possible. It's as obvious, but that will be the first thing I would do after.
Are there any American dishes that maybe you hadn't had much while you were living in Europe that you've kind of discovered since coming to the United States within the past couple of months that you've kind of really latched onto that are favorites now?
I think American cuisine is very known all over the world, especially for burgers and good beef. That's what I would say. There are plenty of places in Poland where you can eat some kind of American food, but it's different here. Maybe the ingredients are same, but the way how Americans prepare it. I really like burgers. I have to admit it. I like medium rare beef, so I really enjoy this kind of food here in the United States. Obviously, I cannot eat it too much because it's fat and it's very good for my fitness. But there are also some other things I really like here, like calamari. I really enjoy eating calamari in the United States. It's not famous at all. It's not common at all in Poland. Same as other seafoods like shrimps. It's also very good here. That's what I really like. What else? And a simple thing like avocado, I think it's also very known here in the United States. I really like avocado, but it's difficult to get a very good avocado in Poland. You obviously have some big stores, big grocery shops where you can get it, but it's not that good as it's here in the United States. So these are the things which come to my mind right now.
You said that you cook breakfast and dinner on your own and you order lunch out. What are your go-to lunches right now?
It depends. It's different. I like Be Good, for example. So I like ordering some salad bowls. I also like vegetarian burgers from Be Good. I like Sweet Green as well.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Once a week, I order Chipotle. I have to admit it, and I really like those tacos. They are really, really
Delicious.
A lot of your
Yeah,
teammates
they
do,
are
so you're not
delicious.
alone.
Yeah. So that's why I think I can order it without any trouble because now we work really hard at home. However it sounds, but it's true. Whatever it sounds, but really train hard. So once a week when I order Chipotle, it's nothing bad. What else do I order? There are plenty of restaurants in the location where I live, so there are plenty of meals that I'm able to choose from. I try to eat every day something.
Very nice. What area do you live in? Are you in Quincy? Are you in Boston?
Could you repeat one more time because I couldn't hear you well?
Oh, what area do you live in? Are you in Boston? Are you in Quincy?
I'm in Quincy. I live in Marina Lake.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah, very nice. I love the location because it's close to Boston, not very far from Foxborough, and the views are outstanding. So I really enjoy living on the ocean side.
It's great to be on the water. Classic
Yes. It's so it makes me calm every time I go. It's like I feel very, very comfortable with having a water next to me. I don't know why. It's like it is.
The ocean's very calming. I grew up on the water. It's just I don't think I could ever go away from the water. I could never live.
It's different. You just get used to it. You get used to it, and you cannot imagine living anywhere else. Same with me. I next to the beach because I live in. But when I was 18, I started part of Poland. There are very famous beaches and seaside in Poland, so I really enjoy that. And since that, I cannot imagine living without having access to the beach.
All right, so when you're not eating, you're not working out, and you're not taking walks on the beach, what is it you're doing to pass the time right now? Because obviously there's a lot of time during the course of the day where you can't do too much, and you kind of gotta fill the hours.
I do two more things. The first thing that comes on my mind is playing PlayStation. Call of Duty with my younger brother Alexander. Same as with our teammates. So I really like that. Usually I don't have time for this when I have trainings, away games. I don't like it because I'm not focused enough on playing this at all. But right now, we have so much time. We have to kill it in some ways. We both bought Call of Duty, me and my brother, and we make some competition online. We play one-on-one or that kind of things. It's funny because I mostly, well, it's not funny for me because I mostly lose, but it's fun in a way that we can spend like that. The second thing, I study a lot. I'm really interested in economics and financial things. So I'm learning on how to invest your money, how to earn money on in many ways. This is very very nice for me and very important for the future as well. I do some courses on the Coursera website as well, EDX, and I spend a lot of time for that. Normally, I also have trainings, but time is limited. But right now, I have a lot of time for this. I try to use it in a good way. I don't want to waste too much time as well.
Have you talked much with your teammate Scott Caldwell, who is a certified accountant and is very into economics and investing. And also, have you had any conversations with Scotty about it?
Not yet about it, but I realized straight away that he's a very, very smart person, and he must have something in common with finances, because the way he speaks, the way he speaks, I would say that he must be very good in this things, because he's a very smart person. But that's a good point. I will speak with him for sure about it.
With regards to video,
Of Shark Tank, by the way, we watch it every day with my girlfriend. So maybe I hope he watches it as well. We might speak about Shark Tank.
And with regards to video games too, Adam, I talked with Andrew Farrell earlier this week, and he's been playing a lot of FIFA, Fortnite. I'm not video game fluent, but he's thrown out these different games. He said that one of the reasons he's been doing it is he misses competition. Have you found that when you've been playing with your brother that it brings back that sense of competing that you've been missing with MLS?
That's a very good point. And I think that is one of the main reasons I actually play Call of Duty, and I hate playing against a computer. I like playing against a real person. So that's a very good point, and I totally agree with it. I also make some bets with my brother, where he has to do something or has to pay for something. It brings this kind of competition, and yeah, I can get very, very emotional during while playing this game. When I lose, I'm angry, and when I win, I always celebrate. It's strange, but you know, if you've been competing for almost all the career, every week, every training, when you have to compete and you want to win, doesn't matter which kind of game it is, and suddenly it disappears, you try to replace it in some. That's what you said. This is probably one of the things that could replace competing on the pitch in some way. So yeah, I totally agree with it.
What's the best bet you've won against your brother?
Sorry?
What's the best bet that you've won against your brother?
Best bet? Oh, I wouldn't like to say it here. Crazy bets, but most of the bets, what we try to make is on money, to be honest. But we try to invest this money for charity reasons.
Okay.
So that's what we are going to do, and so our bets aren't very, very special. Well, they're made for people. That's what we're trying to do. We also make some crazy bets, but it's better to make those bets when you play with your friend or brother or whoever live. Then it's better to, I don't know, some exercise, extra running, this kind of things. But right now we mostly bet on money, and then we try to donate it for charity reasons.
Okay, very cool.
I know you said you get emotional playing games, whether you win or lose. Have you ever broken anything while playing a game and then be like, you know what, I wish I hadn't gotten so emotional? You don't take it that far?
1,000 times. You know, I don't know how many joysticks I have bought in my entire life, but I think a lot. But that's mostly because of FIFA. You know, FIFA makes me incredibly angry. When I lose, I get crazy sometimes, because you know, if you play soccer, for me, some situations on the pitch are obvious. For example, if I get a ball and I want somebody to make a run in the deep or whatever. And for me, it's obvious that the real person would do it. But in FIFA, it's not that obvious. That's why I get so angry. Why are they doing this? And I have no control on it. Nothing. I cannot control a computer. So it's doesn't make sense to get angry, but I always get when I lose against somebody. So I rather don't. I rather wouldn't play FIFA that much. That's why I chose Call of Duty right now.
You spend half the time just screaming at the game. Like, why did you do that? Why would you do that?
Yes.
It is what
You know, there are many memes connected with playing FIFA, and I'm definitely one of those guys who always have enough explanations why I lost. And I always admire myself if I win. This kind of things. This is so.
now we know you're into playing FIFA, but with regards to other sports, I know before obviously everybody had to start isolating. You had mentioned that you wanted to get out to some Boston Celtics games. You're a basketball fan. Do you have a favorite NBA team? Did you have a favorite NBA team, or are you just a fan of the game and the league?
No, I'm not a basketball fan. That's for sure. That was misunderstood. I said that I would really like to see a Celtics game live, but I'm not into basketball at all. I would like to get into basketball, but right now I'm not interested in it. I like games in the United States to watch them on TV, or I watched one game live in Los Angeles during the preseason. We went to see Lakers. It made a huge impression on me. The show, the quality of the players for me, it's unbelievable. So I'm totally an amateur in basketball, but I really enjoy watching it. So I hope when coronavirus disappears, I will buy a ticket and watch a game live.
Are there other American sports that interest you that you don't know all that much about?
Obviously, American football. This is where I have to watch. I have to go and watch live. In Poland, there are maybe a few people who watch American football. I'm not one of them, but I hope I will get into American football as well, because it's unbelievable how players can run so fast and be that strong, that tough, and in duels. So for me, it's unbelievable, and I would like to watch it live for sure. While we were having a training, I remember in the bubble, there were a few American football players from Patriots training next to us, and when I watched them train, it was unbelievable how fast they are. So it made a huge impression on me, and for sure I would like to watch not only one game live. I've never watched an NHL game as well. Hockey isn't that known in Poland. So there are a few sport disciplines that in the United States, because if we compare Poland to the United States, sport disciplines in Poland, which are very common, like volleyball, ski jumping, obviously soccer, are not that common in the US, maybe except soccer, So for me, it's something new, and I'm looking forward to start watching this sports.
Yeah, I was going to ask what the most popular sports were in Poland growing up. You mentioned volleyball, ski jumping. Did you play any other sports besides soccer/football growing up?
Yeah, I was a tennis player. I was 13 years old. I quit it, but before that, I used to play tennis very well, and I really like tennis. So whenever you have time, we can go for. But I had to choose between tennis and soccer, because I was trying to play soccer and tennis at the same time. I was maybe having 3 or 4 sessions of soccer and tennis during the week, so it wasn't possible to play both disciplines at the same time. I had to choose one, and I chose soccer, and that was an obvious choice for me. But I still remember a lot from tennis, and
I know you're left-footed, obviously. Were you left-handed in tennis as well?
No, I'm right-handed.
Okay.
That's strange. That's strange, but I'm right-handed.
Which hand do you write with?
Right as well. I'm
Right, okay.
right-handed and left-footed. That's
All right. Well, Adam, before we let you go, we appreciate you so much taking the time to chat with us today. Give us a little insight into what you've been doing to keep yourself busy and also your background. But before we let you go, I just wanted to see if you could potentially teach us a few kind of basic Polish phrases.
Let's
Because
go.
both Elizabeth and I actually have a lot of Polish background, Polish families. My great-grandparents came over from Poland. My grandmother's maiden name was Saraszewski. So I have a lot of Polish family. I grew up eating a little bit of Polish food, not much, but kielbasa and pierogi and a little bit.
yeah.
I know Elizabeth has a little bit of Polish background as well.
Yes, I do. My grandparents both came over from Poland, and we eat kielbasa, pierogies. We actually have had pierogies once during the self-isolating period, and then we typically have borscht on Easter. But my grandma makes it, and so I don't know that we're going to be having it this year because we will not be with my grandma. But that's typically the Pochoda tradition that we have.
Okay, so you eat more Polish food than probably I do.
I don't know about that one, but we do eat Polish food here.
Now-
Nice. We like it.
First of all, are there any? I know you speak English very well, and you've spoken English for a long time. Are there any American phrases that you feel like you've picked up in the last few months that maybe weren't part of your vocabulary before, that you've heard Americans saying that you've started to pick up a little bit?
For sure, there are some. I try to improve in English every day. It will take some time until I'm able to speak in a very, very good and fluent way. But there are some phrases that I learned. But which are those? Difficult for me to say right now because it comes naturally. I will not give you any of those phrases. Difficult for me to say, but yeah, as I said, I try to improve every day. But which kind of Polish words would you like to learn?
So we just a few basic ones. I know the only one that I ever really remember my mother always saying, just to kind of try to teach me, was thank you. As far as I know, I'm probably pronouncing it atrociously, but dziękuję.
Right, do you remember it?
Dziękuję?
Dziękuję, very good. Yeah.
Dziękuję, okay. And how about just hello?
Hello, cześć.
Cześć. I didn't know that one actually.
And how do you spell hello in Polish?
C, Z, E, S, and C, but above S and above C, you have like a little, I don't know how to even
Accents.
Yeah, let's say an accent. So it's difficult. It's difficult to pronounce if you say all this cześć.
How about how are you?
How are you? Jak się masz?
Yakshimash, I knew that one. We say that to my grandfather all the time. He grew up speaking a lot of Polish, and now he reverts back to saying a lot of those phrases. And so it's funny because we didn't know them growing up, and now that he has spoken them more frequently, we started to learn them. And that's one that always comes up.
It's a very common phrase. Yes, cześć, jak się masz is like hi, how are you? Hello, how are you?
Now, I have to apologize a lot. I do things wrong all the time. So sorry is an important one for me. How would you say sorry?
Oh, this is a difficult one. Przepraszam.
So I think we lost the audio on that one. I really didn't hear it. I don't know if Elizabeth, I don't know if you heard it.
For sure. So I say one more time. Przepraszam.
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 Oh yeah, I think
exactly, right?
Dziękuję you pronounce better than this. Not doing a good
That's
way.
the only one I know.
Yes.
And how about just yes and no?
Yes is tak.
Tak. T-A-K?
Tak.
T-A-K, and no is nie. N-I-E.
N-I-E. Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy. It's short.
One that we use in my family every year on the holidays. I have an elderly aunt that will walk around and give my entire Polish side of the family some honey whiskey. And we always do cheers, and we say "Nostrovia," and then we all take it together.
Yes.
That one's my favorite.
Right. Well, Adam, again, we very much appreciate you taking a chunk out of your day to chat with us. Thank you for the Polish lesson. I will work on my pronunciation. I apologize for butchering the language. Your English is much better than my Polish will ever be.
Yes, missed opportunity.
You're both on a very good word. I will fix you, no problem.
That's true. I don't even want to try to say sorry. It's just going to be embarrassing. Well, Adam, again, thanks so much. We're glad that you're healthy and staying safe, and we look forward to seeing you back on the field as soon as that can possibly be. But stay safe, man.
Likewise. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.